Okay guys, so back in the garage, and this time I thought I'd do a little video on LEDs. These are becoming increasingly popular in pinball if you know much about the hobby. Just for a number of reasons really. They're longer life, they're reduced power consumption, so they're not going to burn your connectors up. You know, the fact that they can be coloured unlike bulbs, so you can get a much more vibrant look in some spots around the playfield. Here we're just looking at my twilight zone. So as an example, in the back box I've got some blue ones to light up where it says twilight zone. Still the regular blinker bulbs because LEDs don't cut it in this game, but then colour changes behind Rod Sterling there in the back box, and there's quite a lot of colour in this playfield. There's a lot of blue up the back which looks pretty good, and then sort of white towards the front. Now I'll be honest, the previous owner did a lot of this, so I kind of have him to thank for that. I haven't done much to this game since I got it. Actually, I added different white LEDs at the bottom here because the ones it had in were just a bit dim, and I had a little rocket ship there, but everything else was on the game when it came. But what I want to talk about is picking the right LEDs, because there's like loads of different types. And the example I wanted to pick on here is in the mini playfield in Twilight Zone. So, like I say, the previous owner did a lot of this and he did a really good job. It looks really good. I'm not going to change much this game at all, but he has used one particular type of LED, which is kind of a single diode one, and in some places it's not brilliant because it's very dim. Case in point, on the mini playfield on Twilight Zone, I have actually got it in test on the 750,000 score. That's on, it's flashing, but it's incredibly dim, and the rest suffer the same problem. Let me see if I can just cycle through the rest. Yeah, so there's the million, not brilliant. Same with the 500,000, it's okay, but it's quite dim. And I'll show you why if I put it back and come round here. You just come down here under the mini playfield. There's the LED, and as you can see, it's just a single diode one. And just simply because of the position it's mounted in, you're not getting the best sort of light through that insert, because it's trying to, you know, the light's going that way, it's not going upwards into the mini playfield. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to swap these LEDs out with some bendy LEDs, and I'll get those out of the packet and show you in a minute and why they're going to look so much better than these ones. I'm also going to change the ones in the lamp up here. These look pretty bright on camera, but the problem with these is these are LEDs, but they're reflecting quite badly off that piece of plastic, so I'm going to swap these with bendies as well. This did actually have lamps in it when I first got the game, but the reason I took them out was I got this sticker, because you can get a couple of mods for the lamp, and there's some really nice cut metal lamps, but they're very expensive, and I just didn't want to splash out for those, so I got a sticker instead, and it said this sticker has not been rated for use with lamps, replace lamps with LEDs because it's not heat tested. So I did that. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to get the LEDs out, and then we're going to have to take the mini playfield off and swap that around, but we'll do that shortly. Okay, so I've got the LEDs out. These are the ones I'm going to replace it with. There's one more than I need, just because I like to be a bit safe like that. You do find with LEDs when you buy them, probably 1 in 100 may be dodgy. So I've got an extra red just in case, but basically the two whites here are going to go into the lamp overhead. The red and the orange and the yellow are going to go into the insert sockets under the mini playfield. And as you can see, just looking at how these are set up, so here's an orange one. That's going to be sitting flat like that in the socket, and that's going to be lighting the correct way. I mean, the benefit of these is as well, it's going to be a little bit difficult to do one-handed, is you can bend that around. So say you needed it to light an insert that way, you can bend it around, which is perfect. You're not losing a whole heap of light like you do with those ones that are currently in there. You wouldn't obviously experience this problem as much with bulbs, but they would be a little bit dimmer than these, just because bulbs give off light, you know, in a circular fashion, whereas these are one way, but I think these are going to work really well. These came from Pinball LED UK, which is run by a good friend of mine, David. And anyone watching this on Pinball Info, there is a discount code we can use, but you'll have to search the site for that. I'm not going to give it away here just in case. So, and another thing important about LEDs is whereas lamps mount straight in the socket, LEDs do as well, but it's plastic at the bottom because that's how they're created. But they have these little metal tabs. That's where the contact's made between the socket and the bulb itself. So if you put one in and you find it's not working, and I've found this a lot with LEDs, it's likely it's not the LEDs broken or faulty, it's because that little metal tab here is not making contact with the socket. And I find the best thing to do, all you need to do is just bend it slightly, just like that. So it's slightly bent up, and then you put it in the socket. Do this on both sides, do it on that side as well as that side, and it should go in, you know, pull it in and out, turn the game on and off, obviously not in quick succession, but just to make sure it's not a bad LED. So what I'm going to do now, through the magic of editing, is we're going to turn the game off. I'm going to pull the mini playfield up, and we're going to replace the current LEDs in there with these bendies, and you'll see the difference immediately. It'll be much better than what we've got going on now. Just as a reminder, here it is. So see you in a bit. Okay, so for about 10 minutes on from where I was last, and as you can see, playfield's up on its side. And what I've done is, I'm going to have to bend this back slightly. You would take this off if you were doing a lot of work on here. I've put the orange one here, there's a red one there, there's the yellow one up there, but you're not going to be able to see it straight light. And I also had a surprise of, there's a flasher under here, which would make sense because there is that hole in the middle with the eye. So I luckily had a flash tower on hand, so I put that one in, replaced the regular bulb. We've also done up here under the lamp, that had a big flasher in anyway, which I did, but I've put those two bendies in. So that's the mini playfield kind of done from my end. So now all I've got to do is get everything back on and remount it. See you in a bit. The other thing you do of course want to do is check the bulbs work first. Luckily all the ones in the mini playfield are working, as you can see here, and already a massive improvement, much brighter than the previous ones. And we do have one out under the lamp, might be hard to see, but that one over the other side is out. That's just kind of the reflection of the one that's on, so that's going to need putting in. I will of course test the flasher under here and the flasher in the lamp. You're okay to power the game on like this, just make sure there's no metal touching that's going to short anything out. So right, we'll get back to this in a bit when it's all remounted and everything's tested up. Okay, so here we are, probably 40 minutes from where I started, and all the LEDs are installed. You can see the difference already on that 3/4 million lamp, and I'll just cycle through, so find the button. There's the million, there's the 500,000, we'll just put it back on the 750,000, come around the side. So zoom out slightly, and there's the LED, and you can see the benefit already. You know, all that light is now directed straight upwards, so you're not losing anything, which is just making it that much brighter and making the little mini playfield look that little bit better when you're playing. So I hope you enjoyed watching, guys. You know, just the importance of selecting the right LED for the right situation in your game, just never underestimate it. That was such a small little thing to do, and it's made a world of difference to that little playfield. I mean, as well, even the lamp, you're not getting so much reflection off that, it looks really nice. So again, thanks for watching, and good pinballing.